I was married to Ethan for 3 years. It wasn't until his death that I discovered his morbid obsession with me through his diary. How I envied Luna's dog. I wanted her collar around my neck too. When I dreamed of her last night, I woke up soaked. God forgive me. Holding that diary, I found myself reborn 10 years earlier to Ethan's most destitute days. His cold gaze resembled that of an untamed stray when he looked at me. I curled my finger playfully. Smile. Or I'll kiss that mouth until it's ruined. The icy facade he'd carefully maintained shattered instantly. The Rolls-Royce dropped me at school where Ethan stood selling egg pancakes by the gate. At 6 feet 1 inch. His lanky frame looked absurdly domestic in that cheap apron straining against his narrow waist. He turned suddenly. Those world-weary eyes meeting mine. $5 with egg. 4 without. He droned like a broken record. I flashed my phone with a grin. How much to add your contact? His grip tightened on the spatula. Luna. This isn't the playground for you. The frost in his voice could have preserved corpses. This wasn't the Ethan I remembered. In my previous life. After father's bankruptcy and death at 25. My fiancé's imprisonment plunged me from heiress to indentured streamer. 12-hour daily broadcasts or crippling debt. I thought that was my fate. Then some tycoon bought our company, voiding our predatory contracts. Resigning papers revealed my savior Ethan. My former classmate. Gone was the brooding youth. Replaced by a man radiating power in bespoke suits. When I lowered my teary eyes, he plucked the pen from my hand. His gaze burned where it touched my skin. The marriage proposal came casually. He'd clear my debts. Citing old favors. High school part-time jobs at my home. Father's college grants. I'm no saint. He warned. Dark lashes veiling his eyes. Take time to consider. I caught his pinky finger. Ethan. I accept. My earnest act required careful calculation, how to feign willingness while hiding desperation. His sharp inhale told me the performance worked. Ethan's hand suddenly trembled. His entire body tensing like a beast breaking free from its cage. His eyes burned with primal intensity. The scorching gaze making me shrink back instinctively. Yet when I noticed his crimson-tipped ears, my fear evaporated. Boldly, I threw myself into his arms. Our marriage was filled with respect. As our housekeeper often remarked, he treated me like royalty. But Ethan never touched me. When I shyly tried initiating intimacy, he'd press me into the bedsheets despite his ragged breathing and flushed face. I'm sorry, I can't. He'd rasp, though the obvious bulge straining against his tailored slacks betrayed his words. I assumed he'd married me out of obligation rather than affection. That belief shattered when I discovered his journal after his death. My pulse raced as I flipped through pages scrawled with, Miss Luna smells so good. Never enough. Why can't I be that ugly mutt she cuddles? Must I become hideous to earn her touch? Dreamt of Luna again. Woke up, guilty. Again. Would she cry if I died? Better disappear quietly. Her smile matters most. The revelation stunned me. This composed, gentle man had harbored such desperate longing. That bastard made me endure 3 years of celibacy. This lifetime, I'll pry open his stubborn lips if it kills me. No exaggeration, Ethan worked harder than the president. Mornings flipping breakfast wraps. Daytime gig economy jobs. Nights coding for his startup. Crowned ASU's broke heartthrob. He'd reportedly deadpanned when informed, can the title be converted to cash? His notorious money hunger let me hire him as art model for mere $200. He froze upon entering the studio. I slammed the door shut before he could bolt. Backing out after taking my money. Ethan? His gaze snapped from my face to the floor as he stiffly perched on the stool. Knees clamped together. Begin whenever. He gritted out. I smiled sweetly. Strip. His head jerked up like a startled guard dog. What? Professional models disrobe. Basic ethics. No? After an eternity. His eyes squeezed shut in surrender. He raised his hand. slowly undoing the first button of his shirt to reveal a seductive Adam's apple. Then came the elegant collarbones. Lower still, I praised sincerely, looks great. Ethan's blushing. 19-year-old Ethan lacked the unflappable composure of his 30-year-old self. A few teasing remarks had tinted his fair skin pink. His knuckles whitened against his waistband as if restraining himself to the limit. Shut up, he snapped irritably. The high AC temperature made sweat trickle down his abs, disappearing below the defined V-line. I kindly dabbed his sweat with tissue. Both Ethan and his brother stood at attention. Such good manners, I commented, following my gaze. Ethan froze completely, complexion darkening as he reflexively grabbed his backpack for coverage. Veins protruded from his tensed hand, that same hand which had gently soothed my nightmares countless nights in my previous life. Ethan kept insisting he was no good guy exploiting favors. Yet nowhere else could I find someone better. This money-obsessed man had willingly transferred hundreds of millions to me without hesitation. What a fool. The 19-year-old Ethan wasn't gentle. Done painting? I'm leaving, he demanded gruffly. I knew this was just bravado. Rising on tiptoes, I kissed the corner of his lips. Good boy. That's enough for today. His fierce expression shattered as he stumbled back, clutching his cheek. What are you doing? His dark eyes widened incredulously, resembling a virtuous maiden accosted by a ruffian. I blinked innocently. Your reward. Don't like it? What do you take me for? Ethan gripped his backpack straps, bangs shadowing his eyes. Luna. I'm not that kind of guy. He stormed off scarlet-faced, as if fleeing demons. Soon my phone showed Ethan's refund of $200, determined to sever ties. I played the victim, frowny face Ethan. That was my first kiss. $200 isn't enough. My first kiss too. The immediate reply got hastily retracted. The chat showed persistent typing, status. Returning from shower 20 minutes later. My phone exploded with Ethan's messages. Having finally regained composure, his texts mirrored his art studio bluntness. Ethan asked, "Then what do you want?" 5 minutes later, I received a notification. Your new friend Ethan Thompson has transferred $3,527.24 to your account. Ethan said, "This is all I have on hand. The rest is tied up in investments. I'll withdraw it tomorrow." After another pause, he typed, "Luna, I'm not angry with you. This kind of thing should only happen between romantic partners. You're already engaged." I accepted the money and sent him a voice message. "Mr. Thompson, let's pretend this never happened. Your reputation remains intact." My words abruptly halted his frantic typing. Another pause later, Ethan replied with 2 stiff words, "Understood." Lying on my bed, I imagined Ethan's current expression when Lily's message popped up. Lily, my cousin, had been taken in by my parents after her parents died. I'd always considered her real family until my family went bankrupt and I discovered her decade-long resentment. She'd leaked corporate secrets, flirted with my fiancé at my father's deathbed, triggering his fatal heart attack. Lily's saccharine voice chirped through my phone. "Fighting with Lucas again? I booked us VIP seats at Noir Lounge tonight. I'll drag him here to apologize personally." Same old routine. Every time Lucas and I clashed, Lily would play mediator while secretly sabotaging us. Her help always made things worse. I laughed. "Cousin, are you overestimating your importance? Since when do you have authority to drag Lucas anywhere? Are you his mother or his great-grandma? Cut the passive-aggressive nonsense. Did you think I wouldn't notice your little act?" Lily gasped. "Luna, how could you speak to family like this?" I yawned. Must be my terrible upbringing. After hanging up, I had my makeup artist create a sultry club look and headed out grinning. Ethan happened to work nights at that very lounge. Might as well remind my future husband-to-be of my existence. I found Ethan cleaning tables under the lounge's neon glow. The man was mopping floors with monastic dedication, no dancing. No flirting. Just honest labor. His broad shoulders and narrow waist drew hungry stares from every corner. He frowned upon seeing me. Before he could speak, Lily emerged from a VIP booth. She eyed Ethan. Cute male model. Your type? I don't. Ethan began coldly. Lily waved him off. Have the manager send over the premium male models then. She dragged me into the velvet-lined den filled with her friends. Lucas is being stubborn about apologizing. She sighed. All fake concern. Luna flashed a bright smile. There's more than Lucas in this world. Honestly. You should try different flavors. Once Lucas starts panicking with jealousy, he'll come crawling back begging for forgiveness. Her friend chimed in. Plenty of fish in the sea. Why obsess over some mediocre guy? Lucas isn't shit anyway. Lily snapped her fingers. The private room door swung open as male models of various styles filed in, trailing cloying cologne. Ethan entered last, expressionlessly arranging fruit platters and drinks. Pick the best one to keep you company tonight, Lily said with faux concern. Consider it your big sister's gift to cheer you up. Her friends discreetly raised their phones, clearly planning to film evidence to sabotage Luna's relationship with Lucas. Such cheap tactics, I'd seen countless variations after my family's bankruptcy in my past life. You, and you. I pointed at the three most expensive-looking models, turning to Lily with an innocent smile. Cousin. My appetite's rather big tonight. Hope you don't mind footing the bill. Our parents gave equal allowances. But Lily's compulsive shopping and need to show off meant I'd always quietly covered her debts. Tonight might finally max out her credit cards. Lily's smile tightened. Whatever makes you happy. That's what sisters are for, right? Arm in arm with three models. I glanced at Ethan still arranging fruits by the door. So dedicated. The watermelon slices were practically getting juiced under his grip. Lily booked me a luxury suite. The keycard suddenly vanished from my hand. Ethan blocked my path. Breathing uneven. Luna. This isn't a playground. I know. I purred. That's why I'm taking the fun elsewhere. The models jeered. What's the part-timer thinking? Wanna join? You're too stiff to please Miss Carter. Stick to mopping floors. Kid. Ethan's lips pressed into a bloodless line. When I reached for the key, he yanked me against his chest instead. Muscular arms locked around my waist. I struggled briefly, his grip only tightened. Looking up, I met his glistening eyes. Lashes trembling. Scorching breath grazed my ear as his voice cracked. Choose me instead. Please, pick me. I'm cleaner than them. Suddenly I understood why romance novel CEOs fall for fragile heroines. Maybe I really am terrible. Seeing Ethan's vulnerable restraint only made me want to break him further. Even after being dragged into the suite, Ethan maintained his vice-like hold, dazedly murmuring Luna, like he couldn't comprehend how things escalated. Call me Miss Carter, I commanded, thumb pressing against his lips. Why the frown? Ethan? Weren't you all tough earlier when you kicked those three out? Claiming you're better than them, here. Or, here. The muscles under my palm jerked like they'd been electrocuted. Before I could fully savor the look of mortification on his face, he grabbed my wrist. Luna, do you have to be like this? His eyes burned dark, swirling with primal hunger deeper than the night outside. Creepy. Honestly. I tilted my head up and nipped at his bobbing Adam's apple. Ethan's fierce facade shattered. His breath hitched as he chased my lips. The 29-year-old Ethan was always composed. Powerful. Tenderly restrained. The 19-year-old Ethan? Polar opposite. A relentless bull calf with endless brute energy. A few teasing touches and he'd combust. Clumsy. All hungry grabs and zero finesse. Adorably hopeless. I kissed his tense jaw. Ethan. Who's the sketchy one now? He glanced down. Silent. Just working harder. So stubborn. Ethan. Stubborn everywhere. Stop talking. He clapped a hand over my eyes. Furious. But his kiss tasted like worship. Blindness sharpened my hearing. I dared to provoke Ethan. You sound incredible. Bam, his mouth silenced mine. Fierce and frantic. He treated me like some prized foldable phone. Flipping and bending till dawn. When pounding fists hit the door, Ethan instinctively cocooned me in blankets. Luna. Open up. I know you're in there. Lucas's rage seeped through the wood. Too scared to face me after cheating? Only then did Ethan seem to wake. Bloodshot eyes darting from my face. He white-knuckled the sheets. Should I hide? The room reeked of sweat and sin. Claw marks raked Ethan's chest and back. His swollen lip split. A roughed-up wolf pup playing meek. Strangely, I didn't want anyone seeing him like this. Outside, Lucas kept roaring. Lily's sugary pleas threading through. Annoying. I speed-dialed my parents. Wailing, Mom. Dad. Cousin Lily's pregnant with Lucas's baby. Yes. He cheated. The second I hung up, phones erupted beyond the door. Lucas and Lily scrambled to explain. Gradually, the noise faded. Ethan gently wiped my crocodile tears away. His brows furrowed deeply. They betrayed you? Stop crying. They're not worth it. In romance novels, male leads would shower their lovers with honeyed words. Ethan wasn't like that. He kept repeating the same stiff phrases. I blinked tearfully, batting my lashes in hopes he'd comfort me more. After a prolonged silence, Ethan spoke with grave finality. Luna. I'll pretend this never happened. Your reputation remains intact. I drew a sharp breath. So my flirtations had been wasted. Ethan, don't you have anything to confess? Who really saved me when I nearly drowned sophomore year? Back in high school, Ethan and I attended the same academy. My parents paid extra from his part-time salary to make him my assistant. Despite constant mockery about being Miss Carter's errand boy, he'd dutifully follow me everywhere, always addressing me formally as Miss. That fateful camping trip with friends ended with me being swept into rapids. When I awoke, Lucas shared my hospital room. Everyone claimed he'd risked his life rescuing me. For years I treated Lucas as my savior, until finding Ethan's diary in my previous life revealed the truth. Medical records showed Ethan's legs had fractured during the rescue. His shins shredded by rocks. Yet he vanished without treatment or explanation. The diary never specified why. Now confronted, Ethan's fingers whitened against the bedsheet. I don't know. Still lying. I snapped, grabbing his collar to bite his lower lip. Clearer now? His eyelids fluttered. I'm sorry. I need to go sell breakfast burritos. I choked on incredulous laughter. The Carter heiress loses to a food cart? 29-year-old Ethan would have canceled international meetings if I sneezed. Business trips always included gifts matching my whims. When I started working, he became my permanent chauffeur. This evasive boy bore no resemblance to the devoted man I'd known. The assistant mentioned that for someone like Ethan Thompson, time is more valuable than money. Though he claims not to believe in love, he's given me everything precious. I suppose Ethan has spoiled me rotten. I can't handle such drastic changes after a decade. Returning home, everyone was present. Lily knelt sobbing on the floor. Aunt, Uncle, Lucas and I are completely innocent. I don't know why my cousin would slander me like this. Lucas helped her up. Furious. Luna, stop this nonsense. Our issues shouldn't involve innocent people. She's your cousin, not a servant. Why force her to kneel? My mother hugged Lily comfortingly while my father sternly promised justice. I still can't comprehend what right does Lily have to resent our entire family? Over some man? Had she simply confessed liking Lucas in our previous lives, I'd have happily stepped aside. Yet she chose meek compliance while plotting our ruin. My silence emboldened Lucas. You hired male escorts at the bar just to provoke me into reconciliation. When will you outgrow this spoiled princess attitude? Who else would tolerate you besides me? Then break off the engagement, I retorted coldly. Heading upstairs, Lucas stormed out. At dinner, only Lily and I remained. Her eyes swollen. She forced a smile. Luna, Lucas truly adores you. Despite your cruelty, he won't call off the engagement. Because he's pathetic, I murmured through mouthfuls of rice. Cousin, share what you planted in that hotel suite last night. I'd known about her aphrodisiac incense beforehand, otherwise Ethan wouldn't have lost control, though his unraveled state was rather charming. As Lily tried denying, I cut her off with a smile. Hand it over, or I'll call the police. Her fragile act shattered into fearful panic. Luna, what do you want? I pity you. I sighed. Had you actually conceived Lucas's child? Wouldn't he marry you? In our past life, Lily's pregnancy and conspiracy with Lucas destroyed the Carter Empire. She dreamed of becoming Mrs. Anderson, not realizing her virtues meant nothing without family backing. Lucas still insisted on marrying me. During our wedding, Lily charged with a fruit knife. In the chaos, I helpfully pushed Lucas straight into the blade. Though surviving after 36 hours in surgery, he became vegetative. Despite Lily's screams about targeting me, the Andersons still had her imprisoned where she miscarried. With Lucas's only heir gone, not that it mattered for his living corpse state. The Thompson family finally realized this was my revenge. But they couldn't find evidence. Gnashing their teeth, they promoted Ethan as some hopeless romantic who'd take a bullet for his fiancée. Only that fool Ethan believed I was head over heels for Lucas. Before dying, he hired a dozen bodyguards for me, bought multiple overseas properties, and secretly assembled medical experts to research coma recovery. His will coldly stated, Luna is free to choose any life she wants. I ran to my room clutching the yellowed diary, tears dripping on my hands, dialing Ethan's number with false bravado. I whined, hubby, everyone's bullying me. I wanted to drag Ethan for medical checkups. We still had 10 years before his stomach cancer diagnosis. But he'd been avoiding me for weeks like I carried the plague. Finally cornering him at his pancake stand, I chirped, extra sausage and 2 eggs. Ethan! The stoic boy burned his hand on the griddle. Hurts me more than you, I crooned. Since Ethan sucked at sweet talk, I'd shower him with cheesy lines instead. His ears turned crimson as I delivered my cringiest pickup lines. A Porsche's window rolled down nearby. Lucas lounged in the driver's seat, smirking, done with your tantrum. Luna? Think some pancake boy could make me jealous? He glanced disdainfully at Ethan's back. At least pick someone presentable. Apologize to Lily and come home. Go lick ketchup. I squirted Heinz all over his designer shirt. As bystanders gathered, Ethan slipped away silently. I chased him into the men's restroom. This is the men's room, he hissed. Then let's try the ladies? Ethan's gaze turned icy. I won't go to any hospital. Luna, stay out of my life. What if I insist? His bitter laugh chilled the air. Then you'll learn some lessons can't be unlearned. That night, it was just a transaction of money and lust. Don't overthink it. I clenched my fists, resisting the urge to punch him. The lust? I got my share. The money? Did you take it? Or perhaps Ethan prefers monthly billing? His pale neck flushed pink before he could retort. When footsteps echoed outside, Ethan swiftly dragged me into a bathroom stall, grimacing at the grimy tiles. I tugged his sleeve. He glanced down with feigned indifference. Yet his palm found its way to my waist, standing on his polished Oxfords. My hair brushed his jaw as crisp sandalwood cut through the bathroom stench. The dripping faucet and some dude's off-key whistling filled the cramped space. Ethan frowned, covering my ears with calloused hands. Hospital. Now. I mouthed. He shook his head. My fingers traveled south, gripping through his slacks. Going? Or not? I squeezed deliberately. A ragged groan escaped him. Jesus fucking, the whistling stopped outside. 2 knocks rattled the door. Dude. Getting handsy in broad daylight? Bold move. Meeting Ethan's warning glare. I mischievously tightened my grip. Another strangled moan vibrated against my palm. Tendons straining beneath his Rolex. Not going? I whispered. Should I kiss you right here then? His jaw clenched before giving a stiff nod. As the intruder left, I tried dragging Ethan out. He wrenched free, avoiding eye contact. You first. Glancing down, I smirked. Don't overwork that hand, Ethan. Bad for circulation. His face darkened. Teasing my husband never gets old. At the clinic, Ethan scowled at the extensive lab orders. Why so many tests? Couldn't admit I feared cancer recurrence. I batted my lashes. My man needs peak condition. Luna. I'm not. Prefer hospital roleplay? I interrupted, tapping the STD panel. Bed restraints? For pole dancing? He paled, muttering curses as the phlebotomist approached. If you don't want me to kiss you in the hospital, then shut up and get the tests done properly. Ethan's eyes widened slightly, as if startled. Walking down the hallway, he suddenly stopped. Luna. Don't you dare, enough talking. I impatiently pushed him into a nearby exam room. Pinning him against the door, I rose onto my toes and kissed him. The heartbeat beneath my palm grew increasingly frantic. Damn. I was half convinced he'd dropped dead from cardiac arrest. When I pulled back from his lips, he instinctively leaned forward to chase the contact. Realizing what he'd done, Ethan's expression darkened. He covered my eyes with a trembling hand. Don't look. 19-year-old Ethan had the emotional resilience of tissue paper. One proper kiss silenced him for the entire day of medical evaluations. The results weren't good. Over a dozen polyps clustered in Ethan's stomach, their nature indeterminate without biopsy. Any family medical history? The doctor asked. Both grandparents died of gastric cancer. Ethan's gaze turned distant, lost in some private thought. The physician's voice softened with pity. We'll schedule the resection immediately. Ethan proved spectacularly uncooperative. Admitted on Tuesday, he attempted a jailbreak by Wednesday morning. I intercepted him in the parking garage, furious at his disregard for his own well-being. Keep treating your body like garbage, Ethan, and I'll stop caring about you altogether. I tossed his instant noodles into the trash, replacing them with the nutrient-packed breakfast I'd brought. He stared blankly at the spoon I thrust into his hand before bristling like an offended cat. Who said I want your concern? Luna? Since when did you become so presumptuous? The Ethan I knew at 29 was all gentle wisdom. Never one for cruel barbs. Sickness makes everyone fragile. I reminded myself. Swallowing my retort, he slammed the spoon into the soup bowl. Scalding broth splashed across my forearm, raising an angry welt. Ethan paled, turning away with forced indifference. If Miss Carter enjoys playing nursemaid so much, perhaps she should apply for an orderly position. First time I'd ever heard that venomous tone from him. The burn on my arm stung less than the ache in my chest. Don't test me, Ethan, I warned coldly. Defiant. He produced another ramen packet and began gulping down half-rehydrated noodles. I left without another word. The noon call from the nurse's station confirmed he'd fled again. Did he at least eat properly before disappearing? Actually, the nurse hesitated. Mr. Thompson finished every bite of the meal you left. even reheated it properly. I don't know why, but my heart felt even heavier. I'd rather he'd been eating steaming instant noodles. Ethan had always lived frugally. In my past life, when he first brought me into that empty villa, I thought it was one of his unused properties meant to house a kept woman. Only later did I learn this was actually his home. The 3-story villa contained nothing belonging to him except a guest bedroom without a balcony and a tiny study. His clothes barely filled half the closet. The second and third floors were entirely mine: dressing rooms, walk-in closets, home theaters, tea parlors, every corner overflowed with my belongings. Sometimes it made me uncomfortable. I once asked Ethan, "Isn't this too much? I'm acting like the mistress of the house instead of a kept woman." He paused while reviewing documents, slowly removing his frameless glasses. His dark eyes softened with warmth. "Luna," he murmured in that velvet voice that always felt like a caress. "This is your home." His words curled around me like smoke. "You could never cross the line here." Luna. Sighing. I thought, why does my perfect husband have such an eternal rebellious streak? Ethan hadn't returned to campus. Following his roommate's directions, I arrived at his current residence. No one answered my knocks. The keypad lock blinked expectantly. I instinctively entered my birthday. The door clicked open. He wasn't home. The apartment resembled a monochrome prison, all sterile whites, blacks, and grays with barely any furniture. A familiar pink corner peeked from beneath his pillow. My breath caught. Pulling it out confirmed my suspicion: Ethan's diary from his 19th year. Reading diaries is unethical. I flipped through the pages anyway, guilt warring with giddiness. The entries mirrored the one in my possession with 99% similarity. The only difference? In this timeline where we hadn't met during college thanks to my obsession with free streaming sites, his entries were shorter and painfully awkward. Saw Luna today. Heart won't calm down. That dream again. Going to explode. The most recent page stopped me cold. The handwriting trembled like seismograph readings. Frowny face. I finally belong to Luna. Dated the morning after our night at the bar. I bit back laughter. Some things never changed. He'd always be secretly sentimental. My gaze fell on the luxury safe clashing with the bleak room. I entered the combination blind. Tears overflowed before my brain processed what I saw. The will. Those stark black and white terms I knew by heart. Ethan, who lost both parents as a teenager and had to work multiple jobs to pay his tuition, must have worked himself to the bone to save this much. $120. 000, probably his entire life savings. Just like in our previous life. He gave me everything. Wiping my tears, I opened the letter he left. Luna, don't overthink this. Your parents helped me through high school. Consider this repayment. Do whatever you want with it. Dated last night. My chest tightened. These past few days I'd been celebrating that the surgery would let Ethan live a long, healthy life with me. But 19-year-old Ethan didn't know that. Fear's human nature. Of course he'd panic about ending up like his grandparents who died from genetic illnesses. He wasn't the confident Mr. Thompson dominating boardrooms a decade later. I should have been more patient. What harm would a little more coaxing do? He was already suffering enough. I desperately wanted to rush to Ethan immediately. As I closed the safe, the white bedsheet at the bottom caught my eye. The hotel logo on the tag made my face burn. Ethan kept the bedsheet from that night? I slammed the safe shut, fleeing the room with flaming cheeks. Secretive little weirdo. During Ethan's pre-surgery prep, I became the most dedicated student in his major. I took meticulous notes every lecture, having his roommate deliver them. After multiple deliveries, the guys finally asked about our relationship. I've had a crush on Ethan forever. Their jaws hit the floor. Through daily persistence, the campus heartthrob returned from surgery to find his reputation thoroughly wrecked. Now everyone knew Ethan had an obsessive admirer. At 6 a.m. outside his dorm. Ethan sighed. Luna. What exactly do you want? Did you brush yet? His brows furrowed in confusion. Then let me get a kiss. I stood on tiptoes. Tasting mint toothpaste. Poking his chest. I teased, not a fan. Try lemon next time. Ethan gripped my wrist. Ears crimson. Luna. Could you stop? His sentence died when I kissed him again. Ethan. The pathology results are in. You're perfectly healthy. No more scares. Is it really that hard to admit you like me? I sniffled. Tears welling up. Ethan froze. His body rigid. My sobs grew louder. Stop crying. Ethan pulled me into his chest. His sigh barely audible. I'm not worthy. Luna. I'm not a good man. You'll regret being with me. I pinched his pectoral muscle hard. It's better to pursue love wholeheartedly than live without it. He grunted, tightening his embrace with an impassive face. This did nothing to prevent his erection from pressing against me through his jeans. Ethan. I haven't had breakfast. He inhaled deeply, regaining his composure. I'll get it. Within 10 minutes. He returned with steaming pastries, all my favorites. For a moment, I saw the high school boy who'd followed me around, overlapped with the 29-year-old Ethan who effortlessly handled my problems. Photos of our embrace flooded campus forums. Trolls accused me of dating Lucas while seducing Ethan. The hate comments vanished instantly. I poked Ethan's stiff shoulder. You're doing? They were lying. After relentless pestering, I moved into Ethan's apartment. The annoying gentleman insisted on sleeping in the living room, with an obvious erection in his sweatpants every night. New forum posts emerged, clearing my name while painting Ethan as the shameless pursuer. I shoved my tablet at him. Which kind soul posted this? He abruptly closed the browser. Don't read that garbage. Anyone with half a brain knew the truth. Laughing, I launched myself at him. He caught me instinctively, hands spanning my waist. How should I thank my hero? I leaned in, lips parting. Ethan's eyes drifted shut, mouth tensing. Crimson flooded his ears. I burst out laughing. Ethan, are you begging for a kiss? His eyes flew open, cheeks burning as he turned away. I toyed with his flaming earlobe, delighting in its increasing heat. Such impressive self-control. When I pecked his cheek, his strangled groan shook the windows. Just hold on a little longer. I'll give you a proper status. How could I let the little troublemaker I worked so hard to win over become the other woman? High society arranged marriages aren't something you can just back out of easily. Even though Lily went to Lucas's parents and exaggerated about me keeping a boy toy outside, the Andersons still had no intention of breaking off the engagement. They even declared that as long as I'm willing to become the Andersons' daughter-in-law, they'd give me complete freedom. Let's be real, they're just eyeing the Carter family's assets behind me. I was determined to cancel the engagement. And no amount of Lucas's dramatic outbursts could change that. On our crowded campus, he grabbed my arm with wild desperation. You're calling off our engagement just because I didn't apologize after our last fight? How could you do this to me? I won't allow it. He started dragging me toward his car roughly. As I reached for my phone to call the police, Ethan shoved through the crowd and punched Lucas square in the face. Lucas released me with a pained yelp. Seeing the bruises forming on my wrist, Ethan's eyes turned icy. He kicked Lucas in the gut, pinning him to the ground with relentless punches. By the time security arrived, Lucas lay bleeding on the pavement with a face swollen like a pumpkin. I shook Ethan's arm urgently until the fury faded from his eyes. He cradled my injured hand, guilt and concern warring on his face. If not restrained, he might have kicked Lucas again for good measure. At the police station, the Andersons rushed to their son while tearfully demanding Ethan be charged with assault. My father cut them off. Defending someone from kidnapping isn't a crime. He beamed at Ethan. Young man. I'll personally commission a commendation plaque for saving my daughter. Ethan opened his mouth to explain, but stayed silent when I glared. Legally, Lucas's public manhandling of me constituted attempted kidnapping. The Andersons left fuming, dragging their son to the hospital. Lily hesitated before following them. My mother pulled me aside, glancing at Ethan being interviewed by my father. Is he the boy you, that night? Even my thick skin couldn't prevent a coughing fit. After being reborn, I'd immediately monitored Lily. My parents received her drug purchase records and surveillance footage of her spiking my drink. In my version, I'd been driven by aphrodisiacs to compromise an innocent college student. Don't you remember? I prompted. Didn't you and Dad fund his education? Mom looked puzzled. Our foundation only sponsors elementary students from poor regions. My heart sank. Another lie Ethan had fabricated in our past life to make me accept his inheritance. Clever bastard. The car ride home was silent. Ethan knelt by the sofa applying ointment to my bruises. Does it hurt? The red marks on my wrist had almost faded. But I stayed silent. Ethan frowned with visible irritation. When I continued ignoring him, his expression softened into something almost wounded. He lowered his gaze. I'm sorry. Sorry for what? I hooked a finger under his chin. Instead of pulling away, he leaned into the touch, carefully resting his jaw against my hand as if afraid his weight might crush my fingers. His voice roughened. I went too hard on him. I'm sorry. It took me a moment to realize he meant Lucas. He thought I resented him for beating Lucas up. The absurdity nearly made me laugh. Ethan, I'll say this one last time, I love you. Only you. You could kill Lucas tomorrow and I wouldn't care. But if you get executed for murder, who'd I have left to nag? You want me widowed at 20? His brow furrowed. Widowed again? I pinched his cheeks in mock fury. I don't care. Your life belongs to me. No self-destructing without my permission. His angular face scrunched comically under my fingers. All sharp bones and minimal flesh, morphing into that awkwardly handsome grimace I secretly adored. He surrendered with an exasperated sigh. Understood. I massaged the reddened skin. Good boy. Maybe you'll get a reward tonight. My gaze dipped meaningfully. Ethan's ears flushed crimson. I'm not some sex-crazed animal, he muttered, stomping toward the kitchen with unnecessary force. The apron strings cinched tight around his waist as he clattered pans, deliberately leaving the door open. He kept searching for condiments, parading his stupidly perfect silhouette past me every 30 seconds. Closet exhibitionist. I forwarded the private investigator's files to my parents. Despite the Carter and Anderson families severing ties, Lily still chose Lucas's side. She hadn't even called home. After the drug incident, Dad revoked Lily's trust fund. Mom cried for days before finally seeing Lily's true colors. They asked my plans. I had the staff box Lily's belongings, donating cheap trinkets to her dorm and auctioning her designer bags for charity. Her allowance got cut off. Predictably, the spoiled princess cracked within a week. Lucas, fresh from the hospital, cornered me outside class with Lily in tow. I squeezed Ethan's wrist, warning him not to intervene. Lily pulled her usual stunt, collapsing to her knees with theatrical sobs. Luna, it's all my fault. Please let me come home. I miss Aunt and Uncle so much. Her tearful gaze kept darting to Lucas, waiting for her knight in tarnished armor. Lucas didn't even look at her. Luna, he said hoarsely. I made her apologize. Let's forget the broken engagement. Lily's head snapped up like slapped. I pulled Ethan back a step to avoid the bad vibes. Stung by my disdainful look, Lucas suddenly sneered, pointing at Ethan. You like him? Don't be naive. Luna, do you think he actually cares about you? You have no idea how despicable this man is. Ethan's hand froze midair. Lucas scanned the classroom spectators and raised his voice. Your beloved heartthrob took $30,000 from me to stay away from my fiancé. You really think this cash-obsessed scumbag's capable of real love? Luna. You're being delusional. Dozens of eyes turned toward Ethan, shock, contempt, disgust. He didn't care. Growing up in poverty where even meat was luxury, dignity became foreign currency long ago. Yet around Luna, he desperately clung to shreds of decency. Better unrequited than despised. That river rescue years ago had shattered his legs on submerged rocks. Waking from coma brought Grandpa's critical condition. $30,000 surgery. Lucas paid. Terms vanish from Luna's life. Never mention saving her. The money widened their worlds beyond bridging. No right to hope. Still he tracked her college choice after graduation. Attended same school. No expectations. Passing by sufficed. Better if seen. Every accidental touch from her burned like holy fire. Heart-pounding wild cravings, yet terrified she'd glimpse his tarnished soul. This forbidden longing bloomed eternal through his fractured being until the girl currently crushing his hand snorted. Ethan. Are you stupid? Luna tweaked his ear. All mischief. You think I'm only worth 30 grand? His panicked expression made her laugh. That's it? Lucas. You're pathetic. I'm mortified we were ever engaged. Ignoring Lucas' twisted rage, I dragged Ethan through the crowd into a quiet stairwell. Suddenly, he wrapped his arms around me from behind. His chin rested lightly on my shoulder. His breath tickling my ear. Luna. His voice was hoarse. I'm not a good man. I rolled my eyes. 2 lifetimes. And I'd heard this line enough to wear grooves in my eardrums. So? I snapped. I really like you. Luna. The words came out awkwardly, yet with terrible sincerity. My heart pounded violently. It wasn't even proper romantic confession. Yet here I was, utterly undone. I've known forever. Luna. He murmured my name again, voice breaking like shattered honeycomb, completely unaware how devastating he looked. Trembling lips brushed my earlobe. Luna. I shivered, shoving him away. Stop that. Save it for tonight. Lily claimed to be carrying Lucas's child. Just like last time, the Andersons refused to acknowledge her, repeating her past life's mistake. She'd tried stealing Carter family secrets to curry favor with them. But this time, I'd warned my parents. Cops arrested her at the Anderson estate with our confidential files. 3 years for corporate espionage. The Andersons let her rot in prison until learning about the pregnancy. Suddenly she got private cells and premium meals. Lucas came crawling back to me. My parents chased him off with brooms. Depressed about the illegitimate child, he went street racing. Someone tampered with his brakes. The crash left him sterile but alive. That unborn baby became the Andersons' last hope. They bribed guards for a gender reveal. Boy. Didn't matter. Lily played prison queen bee until inmates taught her humility. Miscarriage erased her only leverage. The Andersons dumped her like week old trash. She flooded our mansion with pleading letters. I had the housekeeper burn every envelope unopened. Ethan stopped manning his food cart after starting a tech company. When I asked why, he flushed crimson and muttered about smells. That night, I peeked at his journal while he showered. The guy in the diary was painfully honest. Can't let myself smell like fried dough when Luna might kiss me. I quietly replaced the journal. Ethan emerged damp-haired, towel around his hips. I sniffed dramatically. Problem. Ethan. I just lit that scented candle Lily scent. Ethan froze as I slumped against him, fingers tugging at the bothersome towel. My hands wandered boldly before I tilted my head up. Ethan. Are you hot? My question made his Adam's apple bob, pink flush spreading across his collarbones. His calloused palms settled on my hips as he rasped. Burning. When the sheets got ruined, Ethan changed them with deliberate slowness. I lounged on the bed, swinging my bare feet until his movements stilled completely. Suddenly he knelt beside the mattress, reverently cradling my ankle against his lips. The nightstand drawer clicked open. "Luna," he pleaded against my skin, eyes glistening with desperate affection. "Please. More." Dawn found me trapping his wandering hands. "That aromatherapy candle was fake," I teased, watching realization flood his features. "But this reaction?" My fingertip traced his scarlet ear. "Absolutely real." Ethan lunged to cover my eyes, mortification thickening his voice. "Don't look." His kiss swallowed my laughter. Feverish and claiming. "Too late." He breathed between desperate nips at my lips. "You'll keep me now. Always." The morning sunlight gilded his earnest expression, my reformed troublemaker, weaving sweet nothings from diary confessions. Determined to prove this Carter heiress had tamed him thoroughly.